Good evening.
Good evening, and tonight we want to talk about the litmus test of Christianity. And how do you see, when I say the litmus test of Christianity, what comes to mind?
Wow, so many, but at least I can share one or two at least.
Okay.
Try to live based on Christ's teachings, all right, and also I can think of 10 Commandments.
Okay, so
Yeah.
live by Christ's teachings and the 10 Commandments.
So it's like Christ's teachings, right? So live by the golden rule. Serve. To help people out. That way, how do you want to be treated? So you serve the products, good products to others, as I want people helping me or serving me fairly, right? So
Okay.
that's one of them. Yeah, and then of course, many church goers I have observed, they are, I'm not Christ or God or whatever. I can't say that, but then many of them I can see they're not passing the litmus test.
They're not passing. What do you mean? So what you're saying is then that if you take a
Christians in name only.
So some people will pass the test and some people will fail the test of the litmus test.
Well, they don't want to improve, I guess. It's up to them.
So
not me.
if you don't pass, then you fail in a sense.
Okay, but it's up to you. Do you want to be fail rest of your life, or is this, this can be a wonderful opportunity to improve yourself.
So if we look at the 10 Commandments, how can you use the 10 Commandments to improve yourself?
Okay, so you shall not commit adultery, or you cannot steal somebody's property or wife or stuff like that, right? I mean,
Okay, supposing you've committed.
You shall not kill.
Okay, supposing you've broken that commandment and you have committed adultery.
Okay.
What do you do next? Sorry to ask such a point.
No, okay. Normally, thank God, I never commit that kind of stuff. Okay.
Well, you're one of the good ones. What about those people who might have done that?
Oh, a lot. I don't know. No.
I'm
not going to say the name or names.
Of course not, but I mean,
none of them try to improve their bailing or getting out from, let's say, sewer into the better light.
Okie dokie. So let's take another one. Let's take thou shalt not steal. Supposing I was a young man and I went into a post office with some kind of weapon, and I robbed them blind of all their money in the post office, and could I still be a Christian after that?
Well, you have to go confessions.
Oh, confession, yeah.
Yeah. So those of you Catholic or certain parts of non-Catholic communities, there's a place to go confession. You confess your wrongdoing. You say that in front of priest, right? But you have two options. Option one, you talk to the priest directly, where the face it can be recognized. So number two, you can go to a special room without priest knowing who you are. But nevertheless,
I remember as a child I was pushed to do that latter type, and usually the priest said, okay, in order to sort of absolve your sins, you do 3 Our Fathers and 2 Hail Marys or something, and that's it. But in my case here, I'm saying, okay, there's somebody who's done a more serious offence. He's robbed a post office. Is there nowhere, and he feels bad because he was only 18 at the time. Is there no way forward for him?
At least he or she confessed. That's a good thing, because they acknowledge their wrongdoings, right? But many, I'm sure non-Christians too, but many people, they don't want to recognize their wrongdoings.
So when they confess, they are not confessing to themselves, but they're or
Both, I would say.
they're confessing to themselves and to the God.
Correct.
So that's what you mean by confessing.
Yes. And then priests would be suggesting them what to do. And by the way,
So sincerity is very important.
Very
in confession, because I mean, I can say, I can be a
you
bank
cannot
robber.
go forced confession. That's never be good.
I mean, I can be a bank robber. I rob a bank,
Yeah.
and then on Sunday morning I go and see the priest and I say, "Okay, I'm sorry, Father, for what I have done," and I can just say it out loud, but that won't work unless I feel it, right?
That's kind of
It's not going to work.
bad habit.
So,
a lack of disciplines.
yeah. So there's the commandment, and there's you said there's the 10 Commandments, and
Correct.
So we've had stealing, we've had
Adultery or false witness against somebody, right? So let's say I didn't do anything wrong, but somebody calling me a murderer or bloody thief or whatever.
What
right?
other ones are there? I can't really remember now. I know that thou shalt not kill. Everybody knows that one.
Thou
What
shalt
other?
not
What are
commit
the other?
adultery, right? So stuff like that. Yeah. So now I know theoretically speaking, 10 Commandments are beautiful, but because we both live in the impurity world,
Impure world, yeah.
impure, right? Thank you. And how can we follow? Even you are not Christian, I mean, it's a wonderful law,
Well,
right? Anyway, so that's the thing. Thank goodness I didn't kill anybody. But there's a debate, right? You shall not kill. But some people, I remember roughly 20 years ago, but you cannot, even you didn't kill people physically, but I'm sure you kill somebody by word. What do you mean by that? And then say, you drop the dirty word that harmed somebody, damaging them emotionally or whatever. That can be, some people say that's considered as killing people. Like places like here in Japan,
yes.
people been jumping off the cliff because some death notes or say that, not death notes, I forgot the word, letter, right? Say, somebody slandered me, so I'm taking
Suicide note.
I'm jumping off the cliff, So, okay, I don't believe suicide, but I can understand. So the word can kill somebody.
Of course, words can kill.
So doesn't mean you shall not kill. You cannot stab people, of course. At the same token, you cannot kill people by word, even you don't do physical actions. So that's, that's how the 10 Commandments teaching me or teaching us, or even you're not Christian, worth investigate or to look over.
Well. I have my reservations about the 10 Commandments and how they came into being in the first place.
Yeah.
But as a guideline, as a rough guideline, I just have my historical reservations about how they came into being. But as a rough guideline, you could say that thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal. These are quite obvious things that you ought not to do if you want to be a better human being.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's important. So that's the litmus test. You know what? I have another. Okay, I don't care you agree, disagree. I'm just sharing my point of view. So now, before I forget, right? Another litmus test for the Christians would be, even you being challenged by fellow Christians or church members. Okay, so I used to get challenged, because let me tell you, I'm Christian, but I'm not a Catholic or a Protestant. I don't have a dog for the fights. Okay, so even I left the church, I've been challenged by these church people, right, or the volunteer organizations. The names are not that important, but the important part is Christians are not treating Christians beautifully. That's the problem. So even I used to being challenged by these people, I never revenge back by shooting or killing or anything, right? So that's part of the litmus test I have experienced and observed.
And if I might say something, this is a very serious topic, and
Okay.
if we go just look at the war, for instance, and when we got, for instance, after the breakup of the Yugoslavia wars, and if we look at we could say that the six republics were basically a communist style control.
Eastern Bloc, right?
Communist style control. Okay, and one of the countries, Croatia, had a kind of a communist kind of control, but they were Roman Catholic.
Most of them are, yeah.
But they were in control. But this is not necessarily the viewpoint of all the Roman Catholics in the country. There was a small group of Roman Catholics who did the very terrible stuff. Now there was the Orthodox Christians that they hated. Okay, and for me this is a bit unusual. Why would the Roman Catholics hate the Orthodox Christians? But the Muslims within the same country, they said these are the blood of the nation. So the Roman Catholic, like communist leaders, sided with the Muslims to say they're the blood of the nation and we're the Roman Catholic. But the Orthodox Christians are totally wrong, and this is what led, as everybody may know, to the ethnic cleansing and the killing and the rape. And so it's very, in my book, if this group of people, and there's three groups that are guilty, and we all know.
And they failed the litmus test.
Of course, Milosevic is sitting in the prison, and I don't think anybody will disagree with me that Milosevic is in the prison rightly because he failed the so-called litmus test, because he
failed, yeah.
he didn't. It's quite obvious to many people that he didn't follow what the Roman Catholic teachings said or what the Bible said at all, and he just took the thing
name.
in the name
Like
and
I
used
said,
it,
Christian in name only.
and displaced 2.4 million people are displaced because of him and other groups of similar nature.
They definitely
and
they failed the litmus test. That's
that's an extreme example. But I'm sure that if you're from Croatia, that you will totally much, you agree with me, and that I have lots of friends who are Roman Catholic, and they're good stand-up people. But I think they are following their religion in a stand-up way, and they're not utilizing it for kind of superior. They're not saying that the Orthodox Christians are subhuman. It's basically, as you know, this I forgot the name. It's Stawa. Anyway, the group was they got their idea from Hitler, and they basically took Hitler's idea and mixed it with their own idea of what Roman Catholic was.
That's bad.
They mixed it with their own Roman Catholic idea, and then boom.
That's not called Christianity.
That is just quite a recent example, very tragic, terrible example of war started by misinterpretation of a belief, and I'm sure that nowhere in the Christian Bible does it say that I should mow down and just kill my neighbors because they don't believe what I believe. So that's why I'm sorry to use such a severe example.
Well,
but
that's the example.
This is what happened.
The flunked litmus test.
It's a flunked litmus test, and we would like to reach out to everybody and again, tolerance of religion. If we go back in time, if we wind back the clock, and if those particular type of Roman Catholics that had the communist influence, if they had conducted a litmus test in a proper fashion, they wouldn't have attacked their Orthodox Christian brothers of the same original Yugoslavia group, they would have treated them very fairly, and they wouldn't have had any war or conflict or civil war at all.
They could have prevented.
They could have prevented it,
Yeah.
but they didn't.
Did it?
They didn't. And now we have, everybody knows there was the siege of Sarajevo, and very tragic events happened because people didn't follow the precepts, if you like.
Correct.
So there's a certain, I mean, for me, there's a certain moral code that has to be understood.
Yeah.
And I
it's
think
up to them.
So
I mean,
when you,
it's up to them. Sadly, do they want to improve the from the failed stage to passing stage litmus test? It's up to them. We cannot force them. No.
And I think it's very hard to see that after such tragic events of wanting to be the king, if you like, over the beasts, and saying, I'm the king, they're the beasts. We're all human, though.
Yeah.
We're all the same level, really. It's just so tragic. So,
Yeah,
shouldn't it be from now on that we all struggle together to understand each other and find a way to see these overlaps, you know? I mean, as Kaz said, I mean, I don't totally believe in the historical way that the Ten Commandments came into being, but if you look at them just on face value and what they say, as a rule, as a guideline for life, they're not that bad, because if you try to follow a certain
yes, because even I used to deal with atheist people. Some of the atheist friend I had, I think he disappeared. Excuse me, but he says, "Well, I don't believe anything." He said, "But if people can follow the Ten Commandments, it's not a bad idea. But not unlikely everybody can pass all of the Ten Commandments." He said, "You know,
of course.
How many people are committing adultery worldwide nowadays, right?" So, for example,
yes, but you know, if you
he told me that straight. You know, so people who can pass Ten Commandments, these people are super genius, but less likely we can find these people.
Yeah, that's right. So it's there's a lot to it, and can I just ask this? So, in a sense, as far as Christianity is concerned, because of confession, because of the fact that you can be forgiven,
but doesn't mean you can erase the history.
We can't. I mean, in Buddhism we talk about cause and effect. So obviously the cause of ethnic cleansing cannot easily be expunged. It's not something that you can easily erase. At least it's going to take many, many, many lifetimes to do so. So bad cause will equal bad, will manifest in bad effects. So Milosevic finds himself sitting in a prison with 300 years of time. Finally, after they finally got him. So we say, you know, we like to all say a prayer for those, you know, like the song says, where have all the flowers gone? Where have all our young soldiers gone? Where have all the young soldiers gone? But how about in the future? Where have all the peace lovers gone? Okay? Where have all the bright orange gravestones with multicolored flowers gone? So where have all the flowers gone? Those are the flowers were put by the grave for the soldiers that shouldn't have died. But what about the new gravestones with the new beautiful flowers that should be there not because of any war that happened, but because of peaceful relationships and peaceful families? What about where have all those peaceful, loving friends gone? What about that message, you know? Where have all those peaceful family members gone who led a good life?
That's why we need to look over. Whether you're Christian or Buddhist or, whatever, everybody need to look at litmus test screen, so that if you're not passing, this is the wonderful opportunity for each of you to improve your moral standards.
And we say, when, if I might give another analogy, in the Buddhist idea, is that when you do the chanting, it's like you turn on the tap, and as the water runs, the dirty water is coming out as well as the clean water. So as you're chanting, you're trying to constantly
Spiritual cleansing.
get rid of the dirty water and replace it with the clean. Of course, dirty water keeps coming, but you've got to keep cleaning. You've got to keep the tap running and get rid of that brown, dirty water, if you like, because that's the target of our life, is to create this new persona of the whole human race, that we are a cleaner, purer being. I mean, don't we wish that the aliens, wherever they are, to see us as a purer, peaceful, loving bunch of individuals and groups? Don't we want the slogan to be, you know, where have all the peaceful, beautiful, multicolored flowers gone? Think about it.
Yeah, think again.
Yeah.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen,
Thank you.
thank you very much for watching. So, all right, so stay pure.
Yeah, we all have to try our best, including us.
Of course, I'm not perfect either, you know.
When by no means we aren't.
All right.
Okay, thank you very much.